What's going on, beautiful people? It's Bryn, and I'm back with another video. As you can see, I changed my scenery because recently I've been feeling different. I've been feeling like getting into some different things, changing the way that I do certain things, different things, a lot of different things. So, I chose to come outside to change the vibe up a little. Hope you guys like it. Recently, I've just been having a lot of reevaluation going on in my life and with everything I'm doing. And ironically, I've just had a lot of conversations within like the past week and a half with different people at every single time, but about the same thing, which is what this video is about: balance. And how to balance your lifestyle, the things you do, the people you hang around, the way you talk, and everything you do, how to balance that to fit me comfortably. Everything I do and anything I associate myself with, I have to balance them to comfortably fit in my lifestyle. Like changing the scenery up in my video, it's what you have to do when trying to find new balance. You have to try different things and step out of your comfort zone and switch some things up. It's a part of the journey when you're trying to figure things out. When most of us think about life, we think about things being good or bad, or positive or negative, and having to be more positive than more negative. And obviously you don't want to go around things being all toxic and negative in your life, but sometimes those negative and those bad things are good for you, even though it's even though it's something that you might not want in your life. It still can benefit you in some way. Our negative traits are still what makes us the person that we are, no matter how much we dislike them. It's still a part of our personality and our characteristics, the person that we portray ourselves to be in this world. And it sucks. I know you kind of got to deal with all the negatives that comes with being you, but it's what makes you you. And you have to appreciate those things about you and appreciate the negatives, because there's always a positive that can come out of them. The key is balancing the good and the bad, or the positive and the negative. It's not about being more positive than negative, and not about being more good than bad. It's just about embracing them both and controlling them both to where that it could fit you, and it could comfortably fit you, and you don't have to feel overwhelmed with things or feeling like you're doing things wrong or could be doing things better. I learned something new about myself every time I realized that I could be doing things differently. And by that I mean, the way that I've been doing certain things for so long. I learned something new about myself every time I do something, and realizing that I could be doing it differently, because just because it works doesn't mean it's the best way that could work for me and the way I'm trying to balance my life. It doesn't mean that I can't be doing things differently and benefiting from it more if I were to do it a different way. I'm at a point where I'm just trying to figure out what works best for me, and it's not ever going to be a easy process, but I feel like kind of changing the way you live and the way that you're comfortable with is the best way to start off, seeing how things would be if you did things differently. You know how they say there's two sides to one story? Well, I like to say that there's two sides to one life: the balancing scale. There's the fulcrum in the middle that's supporting both weighted sides, or weighted plates, and you are acting as the fulcrum. You are the crucial support to that entire balancing scale. You are in the middle, balancing everything that you give attention to. And it's not just good on one side and bad on the other. It's like a mixture of everything on both sides, and you have to unscramble everything and figure out how they all fit together so that both sides can equally weigh the same, and so that the middle point can have balance. It's literally like the yin and yang. It's not just good or bad, the white or black. There's white with a little bit of black in it, and there's black with a little bit of white in it. There's always going to be some bad in good, and there's always going to be some good in bad. And what I'm trying to explain is, just because it works doesn't mean it's the best way that it could work for you. You could benefit so much more from it. But just because it's bad or you perceive it to be bad doesn't mean that it's all the way bad and it won't benefit you in some way. You know, your L's are lessons. At least you should look at it that way. Because every time you make a mistake or every time that you take a loss, you should learn from it so that it doesn't happen again. Now, obviously, we can't avoid the inevitable because it's inevitable. If it's inevitable, then it's bound to happen and you can't avoid it no matter what you do. Realizing that there's always good and bad and good is opening new doors to possibilities that you've always been capable of, but you just never challenge yourself to do. You have to start somewhere. You know, we always limit ourselves to the things that we can do because of the doubts that we have within ourselves, because of the lack of self-determination and the lack of self-discipline. Honestly, you know, you have to have that self-discipline to actually start off at the bottom and work your way up to the top. And you don't even have to be at the very top, you know, you could just be halfway there, and that's still a journey. Every journey and every process takes time, but you really have to want it. You know, everyone wants to be at the top. Everyone wants to be at the best at whatever they want to be the best at, but never want to put that work into it, never want to put that energy in that time. And, you know, they always say, I don't have the time. Well, the expert at anything was once the beginner, and it's not easy. It's definitely a hard thing because you have to be mentally prepared. You have to be ready to sacrifice a lot of the things that you do on a daily basis and a lot of the things that you put time into. You're gonna have to neglect some things, or not even neglect, but, you know, change up the amount of time that you give and the amount of time and energy that you give to certain things and activities and people. You really have to let things go to balance your life differently, to find the way that really works for you. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Maybe even comment any suggestions you have or you want to hear me talk about. I'm always open to talk about anything because at the end of the day, these videos are for you to see. So as always, have a good day, everybody. Be safe and stay woke.